Rick's all done and his hair looks great. So what do you think, Rick?
Well,
Tell us what you like about it.
I love the texture of it, and I think it blends in very, very well with my real hair, and the fit is perfect. I don't feel that I am wearing a hairpiece, and it feels natural, like it's my own hair, and the color and everything blends in perfectly. I think the consistency and the thickness of it is a perfect match for my needs and
Yeah.
what I like.
Yeah, it came out great. So the objectivity of this is to make sure that the blend matches well to the existing hair of the client. Even if your client doesn't have a lot of hair, whatever you're trying to replace. You know what a good tip is, because me and Rick talked about this before, is what he used to look like. Typically people, when they lose their hair, they want to look more like what they used to look like. Yeah.
Yeah, you want it natural. I don't want to look, I have it look, make me look different than the way I used to look in the past. And what I have noticed is it does make you look a lot healthier and a lot and a bit younger. So
excuse me, we just had a question. The person asking is Mala Chris, and they're asking if it's human hair. Can you talk about that?
Yes, it's 100% human hair. So actually, that's a really good question, because earlier I was testing the hair for Rick. I have some flat irons here that basically go up to 450 heat Fahrenheit. So it's a Chi, and we, kind of just ran it through so he could see that it's 100% human hair. And the texture is 100% human. It's like an Indian cuticle with all the cuticles removed, so it can last for a very long time. And it's breathable, so it's all custom made. I made it for him, so it's made on a breathable lace, so he doesn't feel like his head is being smothered, or he can clean his own head. And the great thing about hair replacement is you can train people to do the maintenance themselves, because even if you're going to do a great job and you're going to have your customer come in to see you and have this done, they want to learn how to do it themselves.
yes, and I can be very comfortable with that, and the way that you had showed me how to do it, and I have no concerns of being able to remove it and put it back on. And I think what I like the most about this is it really doesn't feel like I am wearing a hairpiece. It's just natural.
Yeah.
And someone just asked if we could see before pictures. So we just did the before broadcast prior to this. So if you look at the first broadcast, you'll see that.
The first broadcast does have the before. So the befores are pretty amazing. So yeah, like we were saying, if you go back to the first broadcast, we showed the before, so we kind of did it backwards. I just kind of placed the piece on, we took it off to show the before, and then now this is the after.
Yeah, and what's nice about this too is what I'm noticing now is the side of my hair is the way it blends into my natural hair. You can't see or tell that it isn't my hair. I mean, it's just a perfect match, and it blends in.
And then we have
nicely.
a very natural scalp in here as well. Can you bring it a little closer? See, we have a scalp, so the scalp is throughout. Rick is a person that typically doesn't part his hair or use the scalp, but just in case, say a strong wind blows or something like that, you want it to look very airy and very scalpy, because the last thing you want is someone to think that you're just wearing a really bad wig. So man's hair replacement is a lot different than women's hair replacement. I can show you the person who asked for before. I think I have a before.
They're out in the front. You want to grab them really quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Okay. So
Rick, I'm very comfortable. Like I said, I'm very comfortable with this. It wasn't. I had a lot of concerns about doing this before I ever came in, and I'm quite pleased with the results. And I don't think I could ask any more in regards to looking like looking as a natural head of hair, so to speak.
If you just joined us, Rick is our client, and he actually just had some hair replacement completed. There was a question here asking if it was 100% human hair. It absolutely is.
Okay,
It's all handmade by Helen.
This is me
And
before here.
These are Helen's
So this is
before.
me with different looks. I wear different looks all the time, but I suffer from alopecia areata. So Rick's head looks a lot different. If you look at the broadcast before, he has male pattern loss. It's through here. Mine is more female pattern loss through the hairline through my alopecia. So a lot of women typically suffer from female pattern for us, and then it's male pattern for the male. So
Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the reasons why women in particular lose their hair that's different from men?
oh, sure. Well, there's a lot of, well, in my family, my dad had hair loss. He had male pattern hair loss, and my mom has alopecia. So I kind of got both sides. Both sides kind of, I got struck from both sides. So I've had hair loss since I was 11 years old. And so I've been a real activist for this for a very long time, for women and also for men. Typically, what typically happens is with men, a lot of, there are over 30 million people in this country with hair loss. Now, I'm not sure about the dynamics of how many are men or how many are women, but a lot of men, like with Rick, he made a decision later in life, right? Because
Yes.
You want to tell us about that?
Well, I was looking at the feasibility of doing this 6-7 years ago, and I really wished I would have done it. Later, like she says, Helen said, later in life I decided to do this. But knowing the results and how easy this is and how easy it is to maintain and how natural it looks was my primary concern as to how this would blend in with my real hair and the texture, the thickness, and the comfort. And it's like I said a while ago, I don't even feel this on my head at all, and it's very, very, very comfortable. So it's very natural. So I am very pleased with the outcome of it, and Helen is one of the best in the country in performing these hair pieces. So I would highly recommend her as your hairstylist, and
Thanks so much. Yeah, my job is to really just make my clients very happy. And let me kind of tell you the story. Me and Rick kind of went over a couple of choices before this happened. And as your professional, what you want to remember is you want to go to someone who really understands hair loss, because there was a couple of things that I chosen for Rick in the beginning that we didn't end up with, that I thought may be really good for him, but we ended up with this because I felt like this was more breathable for him. I felt like that the scalp wouldn't itch as much. There are things that you typically may not know in the beginning, but if you have someone who really cares about this subject and really cares about you in terms of your hair loss or your enhancement or just wanting more hair, thicker hair, there's a lot of different reasons why women lose their hair, and there's a lot of different reasons why men lose their hair. People suffer from all types of disorders. We have alopecia, alopecia areata, alopecia universalis, trichotillomania, thyroid problems from hair loss, lupus causes hair loss here due to environmental problems as well. So there are so many reasons why people can lose their hair. Women with cancer, going through chemo, sometimes with women with cancer, they will typically get like a nice wig, maybe sometime custom, depending on if they want to look the way they looked. It makes them feel better while they're going through what they're going through with chemo and different things like that. But then sometimes they tip a fudge because we want to see how the hair comes back. Sometimes it comes back more than it was before. Sometimes it doesn't come back as good. It comes back more wiry. It comes back thinner. So you never know what can force you into hair loss. You never know what what your background and your family could be, because you could be the first one to suffer from this. I've had people come in and say, everyone in my family has beautiful hair. Why am I suffering from hair loss? There are so many different reasons, and it's so hereditarily wide that you may not even know. It could have been your great-great-great-great-grandmother or great-great-great-great-grandfather, and no one else has it but you. But unfortunately, this happens, and it can happen to anybody. But if it does, you have to have great places to be able to go to where people really understand and have compassion for what you're going through. So this is the wonderful thing about that. So I would say that for all the people out there that are in this field, there is great compassion that we have to have for our people with hair loss. We have to give them privacy. We have to make sure that they're in a private atmosphere where they have more private appointments, because people are very insecure about this. It's very debilitating. So in terms of that, we want to make sure that you have a safe and comfortable environment where you can experience this with an experienced professional who knows what they're talking about. So
do you want to talk a little bit about like the difference between sort of if we're losing our hair for the first time, people feel like maybe they're relegated to wearing wigs, and maybe Rick, you can even chime in on that, because you had a lot of stuff that you were
I was looking at the feasibility of possibly having a hair transplant, and the cost of that can be very, very expensive. You know, the costs are up on it. So, and I didn't know what I was going to look like or the before and after effect of it. So one of the things that led me into the direction that I'm in now is by doing this right away, I could see the before and after. And I was so pleased with this that I opted not to look at having my own hair transplanted and just stay with what I have now. And I think it's more cost effective. And what I liked about it the most, one of the things I liked about it the most was the abilities to be able to see the difference right away and be able to look at different types of hairstyles that were more suited for my appearance or looks or personality.
And it's really great when you have a client that's willing to talk to people and willing to show themselves. Here, we have a great environment. We have so many people that are willing to do this, because the experience from my standpoint as a business person, explaining to you what people go through, but in people's own words, what they're experiencing, it's much better coming from the client standpoint. But like I said, it's really embarrassing for a lot of people. A lot of people have still a lot of shame behind it. When you are a woman out there and you're looking for hair extensions, just to make you have the wow factor, we have a lot of entertainers who are wearing extensions. As a matter of fact, I am also a celebrity stylist. So, but my passion, my passion in my heart is working with people with hair loss, whether they're men or women, because I can't say that we don't suffer the same just because we're one gender or the other. It's very painful either way, because anything that takes away from self can make it very hard on a person. So I love what I do. I've been doing it for a very long time, 3 decades. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I love to see the smiles on people's face, and I really love it when I'm able to educate the public, because there's so many bad perceptions about hair loss and where to go and who to go to. We're flooded, and it's very saturated now. When I first got in this business, it wasn't very saturated, and now I'm getting a lot of calls from people. They ask me questions like, you know, I went to this person and I lost more of my hair than what I had even before, or they snatched out more of it due to method. It's like DNA. No, there's no one method that fits one person, and that's why in this field I have went into it so hard and so deep into patenting so many different methods, because no two heads are alike. I don't care how many heads you do. I don't care how many thousands of heads you've worked on. If you worked on thousands and thousands and thousands of heads in your career, no two heads are the same.
We had some new people join. Do you want to show your before picture again?
Sure, sure,
Could you
of
grab
course.
that? Okay.
No problem.
Is it right here? Okay,
Yes,
I just don't want
okay.
to take the camera.
Sure.
Okay.
This is me here before, and I have alopecia areata. And this piece that I'm wearing right now is custom made for me. And as you can see, I have some other looks on here that I wear sometimes. And this is probably not as many, because I probably wear about maybe, I don't know, maybe 25 different looks, because I like short hair, I like long hair, I like wavy hair, I like curly hair, I like big hair, I like blonde hair, I like brunette hair, and so what I like to say to people who are suffering from any type of hair loss is you can have better hair than anybody else if you want, because you can change your look, you can change as much as you want, you can do as many things as you want. You know, sometimes you have to take what may be your downfall in life and make it the thing that lifts you up the most. So I really love what I do. I'm happy when I can make people happy. Like I said, me and Rick, we've been together for a little while now, so we've kind of experienced going through some different things, and it was kind of like on me, because I wanted to make sure that I knew where his comfort zone was, and where my comfort zone was as a stylist in creating for him. What is the look? What is the it factor for each person? Because everyone has their thing that they're looking for, but you have to be professional enough to know how to find it. So I would like to call it anything. It's not just hair replacement, it's hair art, it's construction, it's engineering. You're building, and you're actually creating your own piece of art, but you have to have the eye for it. You have to have the know-how. There are many factors in this business. You can't just be a hair cutter. You can't just be a hair colorist. You can't just be a hair stylist. You have to be a hair engineer. That means you have to know a little bit or a lot about everything. So
that's what I liked about when I researched your background and experience, was that you were a specialist in your field, and you're very analytical and very knowledgeable in a variety of areas in regards to hair treatment and what have you. So you're very well diversified and very well experienced in all those diversities. So that was one of my primary reasons to go in your direction, to have you take a look at what my needs were, and I've been very pleased with the outcome. And one of the things that I liked about Helen was that she was able to like she had said earlier, we worked together on as to what my needs were, and pleasing me as a customer, so to speak, as to what I liked. So I was able to use her diversified experiences and backgrounds as a tool to meet my needs and what I wanted to have done. So I was very well satisfied with what she had to say, and appreciative of what she has to say as a direction to go in order to get this done for me.
yeah, so you know, like I said, sometime when you think you've seen it all, you haven't. 3 decades, it makes you an expert. But what you have to keep an open mind to is that there are always going to be challenges, and there are always going to be people that walk in the door who have a different problem, you know, and you have to be able to deal with that, whatever it is. So you have to love what you do, and of course, in this case, you have to be very good at it. So I love it.
You're getting some good compliments. Everybody's saying that Rick looks amazing and that you're doing some great transformations. I did want to touch on, because we do have a couple of new people that just joined us.
Okay.
I'll just give the brief background. Rick here is a client. He's been sharing his story. Helen has had alopecia since she was 11 years old. Once again, we'll grab the before picture so everybody knows what her natural hair looks like.
Here I am. And you know, I've been doing this. I've suffered from alopecia since I was 11 years old, and I've actually started making custom units at 12. So it's something, you know, my dad was an artist, so I believe, you know, I had the art in my hand. And so I started making them for myself as a kid, because you can imagine being a kid and being in school at 12 years old, you know, you can become very bullied by, you know, bald spots and things like that. So I had the best hair in school, and, you know, I just wasn't going to have it. So I just pretty much, this is why I'm such an activist for it. I don't mind showing my head without my hair, because I think that it's an enhancement to how you feel. If you feel beautiful and you want to be bald and beautiful, and if you feel beautiful with your hair like it is, more power to you. I am, you know, I look at everybody, and I look at empowerment and everything for women and men. But I just chose to go a different route. It is something that, you know, I love hair, and it's something that I did not have as a child, and nor can I grow, but I can sure make it. So I really love it. I love it. And I love being able to help people, and it makes me feel really good. Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
And we'll
have
have
a great
more.
day.
Okay.
All righty.
All
We'll
right.
see you again. Bye-bye.